new briefs that changed everything. Some people think sleep gets easier with age. Less noise in the house, fewer early alarms, more time to rest. But if you ask most seniors over 65 in Europe or North America, they'll tell you the truth is very different. Because what really happens, the silence gets heavier, the thoughts get louder, and the body, well, it doesn't always know how to shut down just because the lights are off. It's in that kind of silence that people like Ernest find themselves wide awake at 2 a.m., staring at the ceiling fan. Ernest is 76, lives in rural Ontario, and he used to work as a train conductor for nearly 40 years. Strong man, built his whole life on discipline and routine. But he told me something that stayed with me. After listening to engines breathe for decades, I forgot how to listen to my own. It hit me. Because breathing, it's the one thing we all do from the moment we're born until the very last second. And yet for many seniors, it's become shallow, restricted, disconnected from the rest of life. In today's episode of Elderly Reflections, we're diving into something so simple, so ancient, so powerful, that it can reduce stress, lower blood pressure, help you fall asleep faster, and even improve memory. I'm talking about breathing exercises, but not just any kind. These are 5 specific breathing techniques that So let's start with the one breath that changed everything for Ernest. It's called the 4-7-8 breath. Here's how it works. You breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds, you hold it for 7, and then you slowly, gently exhale through your mouth for 8 seconds. This pattern activates your parasympathetic nervous system. It's the response within your brain and body that signals, you're safe, you can rest now, not fight or flight, just rest. It's like telling your whole system, hey, I got you, calm down. And let me tell you, it works. Doctors at Harvard have called the 4-7-8 breath a natural tranquilizer for the nervous system. It's not a gimmick, it's not new age fluff, it's biology. And Ernest, he tried it one night just to humor his granddaughter. She'd been begging him to do something other than drink 2 shots of brandy and call it sleep medicine. He rolled his eyes, but he tried it. 4 seconds in, 7 hold, 8 out. And he said, by the 3rd breath, I didn't fall asleep. I surrendered to it. His hands stopped shaking at breakfast. His nights grew quiet again. Not because his problems disappeared, but because his body finally stopped bracing for an emergency that wasn't coming. That's the power of breath. And now I want to take you from Ontario to the hills of Devon, England, where I met a man named Franklin, a retired engineer. 68 years old, fought in the Falklands, lost his best friend in a fire years ago. You'd never know by looking at him that this man once sat on his bedroom floor for 4 hours straight, unable to breathe without panicking. His daughter, a respiratory therapist, taught him a different technique. It's called box breathing. It's used by athletes, soldiers, even skis, but more importantly, it's used by seniors who feel like the world is going too fast. It goes like this. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold again for 4. It creates a mental square. Once I did that, the noise in my head had nowhere to go. And here's what science says. Box breathing regulates cortisol, the stress hormone. It helps you switch from reacting to reflecting, from surviving to sleeping. That's why it's one of the top techniques we recommend here on Elderly Reflections for anyone dealing with insomnia, stress, or racing thoughts. Especially seniors who carry decades of emotional weight that never quite got unpacked. You see, what Ernest and Franklin both discovered, in very different places, is something I believe every senior should know. Your breath is your ally, not just a survival tool, a guide, a rhythm, a reminder that no matter how complicated life feels, there's always a way back to stillness. And I want to ask you something now, something we ask at the end of every video. But today I want to ask it up front. Where are you watching from? Seriously. Are you in Germany, Florida, Alberta? Drop it in the comments below. Because here at Elderly Reflections, we're building a community. One rooted in motivation, elderly wisdom, and the quiet power of life lessons from the elderly. And if this content is resonating with you so far, don't just sit back and nod, click like, hit subscribe, and turn on the bell. Up next, we'll explore 2 more breathing techniques. One practiced by Buddhist monks to calm the body, and another so effective it's now being used in senior sleep clinics across the US. But for now, I'll leave you with this. Tonight before bed, I want you to sit quietly. Just you. No phone, no TV, close your eyes and take a few 4-7-8 breaths. Or try the box. And as you breathe, I want you to whisper this to yourself. I am still here. I am still learning. I am still breathing. Because for seniors, it's not about age, it's about agency. And breath is where it all begins. The breath that brought peace to a war inside. When you're in your 30s or 40s, a bad night's sleep is just that, a bad night. Maybe you're groggy, maybe a little grumpy, but you bounce back. When you're 65 and older, a single sleepless night can turn into a fog that follows you for days. It affects your memory, your mood, even your balance. And the stress? It doesn't just fade, it clings to you in your shoulders, in your breath, in the way your heart keeps skipping beats at midnight for no clear reason. But what if I told you there's a breathing technique so powerful, it's been used for centuries by monks to quiet not just the body but the soul? The third breathing technique I want to share with you is called alternate nostril breathing. Yes, it sounds unusual, but stay with me because this one, it changed everything for Eleanor. Now Eleanor is 74, lives alone in Barcelona, retired violinist. But more than that, she was a caretaker. For years, she looked after her husband during his final battle with Alzheimer's. Every night, she would sit by his bedside, praying for peace, for him and for herself. And when he passed, the silence in the apartment was deafening. She couldn't sleep, couldn't stop the shaking. Her doctor said it was grief, and sure enough, that played a role in it. But it was also a body that had forgotten how to rest after years of being on high alert. That's when she met a local yoga teacher, who introduced her to Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing. It goes like this. You close your right nostril gently with your thumb. Breathe in through the left nostril, then close the left nostril with your ring finger. Open the right nostril and breathe out, then reverse. Breathe in through the right, close it, breathe out through the left. That's one round. You do about 5 or 6, slowly, deliberately. And what happens? Your nervous system synchronizes. Your mind stops racing. Your breath balances the hemispheres of your brain. Eleanor told me, for the first time since he died, I didn't dream of chaos. I dreamed of a garden. And here's the science. Researchers at the National Institute of Mental Health found that alternate nostril breathing can significantly reduce anxiety and increase parasympathetic tone, the system that governs deep rest and recovery. That's not a myth. That's measurable. So if you're someone who wakes up every night at 3 a.m. thinking about everything you didn't do, everything that hurts, everything you've lost, maybe what you need isn't a pill. Maybe it's rhythm, stillness, elderly wisdom from cultures that have known for centuries what we're only now remembering. Now let me tell you about the fourth breath. And this one comes from Chicago, from a man named Clarence, 79 years old, former city bus driver, tough as nails. Or at least he used to be, until the pandemic hit and the isolation crept in. His wife passed in 2021, his knees started giving out the year after, and suddenly he went from driving routes every day to sitting in silence, surrounded by old trophies and unpaid bills. I felt like a ghost, he said. Like my body was still here, but the rest of me, gone. Then a neighbor, a retired nurse named Gloria, introduced him to something called coherent breathing. Now let me pause here, because I know the word coherent doesn't sound exciting. But trust me, this might be one of the most effective tools a senior can use for sleep and emotional balance. Coherent breathing means this: 5 breaths per minute. That's all. It's a slow, steady inhale for about 6 seconds. Then a slow, steady exhale for 6 seconds. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That pace calms the heart, balances the oxygen-carbon dioxide exchange, and most importantly, it brings the mind and body into harmony. Clarence started doing it every morning and again right before bed, just 5 minutes. Sitting in his recliner, no music, no phone, just breath. I still miss her, he said, but now I feel her in the quiet, not in the ache. And here's where it gets powerful. Studies at Columbia University have shown that coherent breathing can reduce symptoms of PTSD, improve vagal tone, that's your body's internal stress regulator, and support cognitive clarity in aging population. In simpler terms, it helps you feel more like yourself again, more alive, more present. So now we've covered 4 techniques: the calming power of the 4-7-8 breath, the grounding force of box breathing, the emotional balance of alternate nostril breathing, and the deep inner quiet that comes from coherent breathing. And the question I have for you now is this: which one speaks to your story? Because every breath we've talked about today carries a lesson. A quote, a piece of elderly wisdom from people who've lived through war, loss, silence, and still found peace on the other side. But we're not done yet. Coming up next, I'll share the final breathing technique, one that combines physical movement with breath, used in senior rehab centers across Europe to improve mobility and calm the mind. And I'll also show you how to build your own 5-minute nightly ritual that brings these all together. One that's easy, repeatable, and deeply healing. But before we wrap things up, I want to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Are you in the US, the UK, Germany, Norway, Canada? Drop a comment, and if this video has helped you reflect, if it's reminded you that senior health is about more than just prescriptions, it's about rituals, about meaning, about stillness, then please click like, subscribe to Elderly Reflections, and turn on the bell. We're not just sharing tips here. We're preserving life lessons from the elderly. We're honoring voices like Eleanor's and Clarence's, the quiet kind, the kind the world often ignores, but never should, the ritual that reminds you you're still here. There's something sacred about the moment the house finally gets quiet, when the last light is turned off, when the television goes black, when no one's texting, no one's knocking, and the world finally stops asking you for something. But for many seniors, that silence, it doesn't feel peaceful, it feels hollow. Like walking into a room and forgetting why you're there, like your body's ready to sleep, but your soul is pacing in circles. And that's where breath becomes prayer. So far, we've explored 4 powerful breathing exercises used by seniors around the world. Techniques backed by science, rooted in elderly wisdom, and told through real people like Ernest, Eleanor, Clarence, and Franklin. But this final breath, it's something special, something that doesn't just still your mind, it moves your body. It reminds you that you're still living in it. The 5th and final technique is called movement breathing, sometimes called breath with flow. It's used in senior rehab centers across Scandinavia, and it's quietly transforming how older adults prepare for sleep. The idea is simple. You pair each inhale and exhale with small intentional movements, raising your arms slowly as you breathe in, lowering them as you breathe out. You sit upright, you ground your feet, and you let your breath guide your motion. Inhale, arms rise like wings. Exhale, arms float back down. It's like Tai Chi, but even simpler, even slower. This technique is especially helpful for seniors who struggle with stiffness, poor circulation, or restlessness at night. I met a woman named Ingrid, 82 years old. In Stockholm, she was healing from hip surgery, confined to her apartment during a long, bleak winter. But one night, after another painful attempt to sleep, she tried. One breath, one movement, then another. And by the 5th breath, she said her mind was no longer chasing thoughts. It was following rhythm. I stopped trying to fall asleep, she told me. I just let myself land. And that's it. That's the key. Sleep is not something you wrestle with. It's something you arrive at gently, with breath, with movement, with dignity. So now we have all 5 techniques. Let's recap them one last time. The 4-7-8 breath to calm your nerves and lower blood pressure. Box breathing to create structure when your thoughts feel like chaos. Alternate nostril breathing to balance the body's systems and quiet anxiety. Coherent breathing to bring you back to center. One slow inhale at a time. And movement breathing to reconnect your breath with your body and remind yourself that you're still here, still able, still worthy of peace. Now I want to give you something simple, a nightly ritual, one you can begin tonight. No supplements, no screens, just you and breath. Start by dimming the lights about an hour before bed. That signals to your brain that it's time to slow down. Then take a seat somewhere comfortable. Doesn't have to be perfect. You're not trying to impress anyone. Place your feet flat on the floor. Put one hand on your chest, one on your stomach. Now close your eyes. Begin with coherent breathing. Inhale for 6, exhale for 6. 5 rounds. Let your mind settle, let the noise fade. Then move to 4-7-8 breathing. Just 4 rounds. Feel your body begin to let go. If your mind drifts, let it. Just keep breathing. Finally, end with movement breathing. Lift your arms on the inhale, lower them on the exhale. Do that 5 times, and when you're ready, place your hands in your lap. Whisper something to yourself. Doesn't matter what. Maybe thank you. Maybe I'm okay. Or maybe just breathe and let that be enough. Because this is not about technique. It's not about fixing yourself. It's about remembering that your breath is the last place they can't take from you. That as long as you can breathe, you are alive, present, whole. And if you're someone who's lived through loss, through change, through pain you never got to talk about, let this moment be yours. Let tonight be different. Don't just lie in bed and wait for sleep like a stranger. Invite it. Prepare for it. Own it. You're not too old to learn something new. You're not too broken to find calm again, and you are not alone. Not here, not on this channel. Because here on Elderly Reflections, we believe in more than facts. We believe in life lessons from the elderly, in motivation, in the kind of inspiration that comes from quiet resilience and quiet breath. We believe that senior health isn't just numbers on a chart, it's how you feel in the silence. It's what you remember when the world goes quiet. So tell me, what's one breathing technique from this series you want to try tonight? Drop it in the comments below. And tell me something else. Where are you watching from? Germany, Canada, New York, Iceland? Let me know, because this channel is a global village for anyone who believes that age doesn't mean less. It means more. More stories, more grace, more wisdom to share. And if this spoke to you, please like this video, subscribe to Elderly Reflections, turn on the bell, share it with someone who needs it. Because the more people we reach, the more peace we give. You're not just breathing, you're becoming. And maybe, just maybe, tomorrow morning, you'll wake up not just rested, but whole. I'll see you next time.